As the super popular and in no way questionable World Economic Forum gets underway this week, some may be wondering what their thoughts are on crypto and if the Schwab gang will be a friend or foe to the cause. Not that it matters much because the forum will in no way have an effect on the outside world. Or will it? Leave your opinion below.
Taking a closer look at what the next year could hold for the crypto industry, and joining us now to discuss is Global Blockchain Business Council CEO Sandra Rowe. Sandra, great to have you on the show. You are a veteran of the World Economic Forum. From what I understand, you were the first crypto presence here about 6 years back.
Maybe the first, definitely one of the earliest pioneers 6 years ago. A group of entrepreneurs showed up and said, hey, I think we should come to Davos, and we did.
How does this year compare? What's the evolution, to this point in terms of the reception for crypto?
Has grown. Crypto has taken over, lounge after lounge. We've grown, larger space, more people. And, there have been ups and downs. There have been several crypto winters, but every time we come back bigger and stronger.
All right. So you have a different view from our CoinDesk panel because they thought that it was a bit muted, but you're actually saying that there's a lot of positive sentiment out there.
So first of all, the one that occurred in May 2022 was an off year because it was the first one after the pandemic. And definitely there were a lot of crypto firms. I think this time around the numbers are greater, but there are a diverse group of stakeholders that are here. It are blockchain players, metaverse, Web3 focused players, as well as the pure crypto crowd.
Mm-hmm. So taking a look at 2023, what are some of the trends you're seeing this year? I mean, we're just coming off of 2022, which was a pretty terrible year for a lot of crypto lenders, crypto hedge funds, crypto exchanges, looking at FTX particularly. So what do you foresee in 2023?
So firstly, for those who've been victims of what has happened at the end of 2022, we empathize greatly. However, that is a subsegment of the overall landscape of blockchain and digital tokenization of everything. And so we see a world where people continue to build. There's investments happening across the spectrum. And whether you're enterprise or a startup, there are definitely growth and investments being made.
Well, we just spoke with Accenture, and they're all over the metaverse. It sounded like, though, they were into more closed blockchains. Is there an appetite for more decentralization, public blockchains building on the infrastructure that's been built so far?
So I think what we will see over time, just what we've seen in the last decade, is that there will be groups that will focus on working within private chains for a while, and they may evolve into public chains. And there are lots of different reasons for why people do one or the other. I think ultimately moving towards public chains is the way a lot more enterprises are actually going. It just might take a while.
Okay. And based on your conversations with members of the blockchain hub, how are they navigating crypto winter?
So there are several different buckets. Let's face it, everyone's gotten a black eye from what's happened, but I don't think it's a fatal blow. It is about the fact that some are obviously more directly affected than others. And so for the ones who are not affected, they're just going. They keep going and building, and it's not really actually an issue from a direct standpoint. Obviously, the halo effect has diminished from the hype of cycle of last year. But what I think is going to be most important is that the rebuilding happens to those who've been affected, particularly with integrity. And I think this industry needs to actually step up and call out bad actors in a much more vocal way.
So we're reportedly hearing that Three Arrows Capital, they're trying to raise $25 million, forgive and forget or what?
I just saw the headlines. I don't know. I think I've read enough or know enough to opine too much other than it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. Certainly raises eyebrows.
You're also talking to folks in Ukraine. I mean, one of the themes this year is cooperation in a fragmented world. I'm seeing a lot of Ukraine, not much of a Russian presence here. But what are you doing in terms of work with Ukraine?
Yes. So, behind the scenes, we have been supporting some of the very early Ukraine DAO, Ukraine crypto wallet initiatives that happened last year when the war broke. We continue to support, obviously, those initiatives, particularly from local Ukrainians who are actually building out funds and different crypto-related services. And I think these are really important, especially in a time where infrastructure is patchy for them. Getting access to anything is really hard, that we rally around groups that are trying to get either funds onto the ground or food or access to various services. And I think we need to really show the world that that's where good crypto happens.
And is that, I guess, feeding into the regulators and the policymakers here? Do they see that, or is the sentiment soured from everything else that's happened?
Like I said, it's definitely been a black eye for everyone who's been in the industry. It's a step back in terms of what's happened. However, I think there are enough regulators and legislators that are out there that do understand that it is not just about what's happened with last year. It's about actually an industry that's a much bigger picture, and most of the actors are actually good stakeholders, good participants, good builders.
Lynn, great to see you here.
Thanks for having me.
So what are things looking like at this point? How's the pipeline?
The pipeline is strong. The pipeline's never been stronger. The power of the public market currency has never resonated more than it's currently resonating. However, as you know, and as you report on every day, we're in a period of deep uncertainty, and that's being reflected by the market. Market doesn't like uncertainty. So what that's caused is CEOs of companies who are looking to go public have postponed their plans, and they're just waiting for the market volatility to abate.
Can they do that for an extended period of time? Or are there some companies that just need cash? Would they rather go private?
Yeah, some of the companies that came out last year had a strategic reason to come out last year. But what you've seen is a lot of companies go back to the fundamentals, really hone in on what the priorities for growth are going to be, how to do that in an economically responsible fashion, look at their costs in particular, rather than looking to come to market without a business plan that they're able to execute on to get to the profitability standards.
It sounds like those are the types of things they should have probably been doing all along, instead of just chasing after really cheap money or free.
Well,
right?
we're excited about the pipeline. We're excited about the amount of innovation that's coming to market. We're just, really looking forward to the time when the market volatility could abate just a bit, so some of these amazing companies could come public.
Do you have to wait until the Federal Reserve is kind of done with its march to higher interest rates?
Yeah, I think based on the data that you've seen over the last two inflation prints, that's an encouraging sign, right? And you've seen the market react in a positive fashion to those encouraging signs that we're starting to get inflation under control, particularly the print that happened last week. 6.5% is a great number compared to the 8s that they were printing just 2 cycles ago.
Sure.
Can I ask Joe's question? It's a question. Well, it's a question you asked of your competitor at NASDAQ, which was what you're thinking about crypto now. Given everything that's happened, does it change your view on crypto?
I've long said that crypto is a market in need of regulation. We need to know what the regulatory guideposts are. We need to know what a framework is to bring this asset class under the more traditional structures that have served volatile markets, volatile periods well, and that's more the centrally traded, centrally cleared types of frameworks. And I think this has just been further evidence.
But do you want to be? That's what she said too. Do you want to be in this business ultimately? If you could be, is this an asset class you like, or is this like? I mean, are you happy that you
is it an asset class?
Is it an asset class? Like where SPAC's an asset class?
Here's the thing: we're still at a point where people. Did we need to regulate Beanie Babies? That's what people call this. Did we need to regulate pet rocks? Did we need to regulate rat poison in Charlie Munger's term? If it's all those things, there's still a huge contingent of people that think this is absolutely greater full theory, and that everybody's going to go. It's all going to zero, and everybody's going to be bankrupt.
I don't know what the status of crypto in the long term is. Obviously, the underlying technology is good.
It's real.
The underlying technology has applicability outside of some of the cryptocurrencies, such as a Bitcoin or an Ethereum.
Right.
The underlying technology is what we're more focused on, and how to deploy that technology to add efficiencies to arcane processes that still, in this day and age, exist in markets.